Great morning, great Wednesday morning. How are you all doing? Happy Valentine's Day from Marriage Mondays with the Kings. I'm going to go ahead and just get into today's topic. Try to be as brief as I can. I don't know what God is going to allow me to say, but hey, I'm going to be obedient. Let me go ahead and tell you today's topic is stop putting your spouse in a box. Allow them to be who God has created them to be. Now, I know some of you have many thoughts like, okay, they don't know who God created them to be or whatever. We're not going to go there. I've seen so many spouses, mainly husbands. I hear a lot of wives talk about this, to where the husband gets mad because, say, for instance, the wife wants to go back to school. She wants to do something, better her life and whatever the case may be. Or she may even feel that God has a calling on her life to do something. This may be the same thing with the husbands, okay? So with the husbands, maybe he's coming home and he's saying, hey, babe, I desire to go back to school, or I desire to do this, or God has laid it on my heart to do. And a lot of times, because we as spouses cannot see what God has informed our spouse or, ordered their next level of steps, sometimes we get upset about that. Sometimes we feel more comfortable, if we be honest, if we could place our spouse in a box. I mean, just to be straight up, you are fine where you are. You don't need to do anything else. I've heard these type of things. I've heard about the arguments that husbands and wives have had because, why are you trying to do that? One thing that I have learned is when us as spouses, when I, Shan, do not know who God has called me to be, then because I don't know, good morning, Phoenix, because I don't know who God has called me to be, then I want to put my spouse in a box until I can figure myself out. But let me tell you, when you're not moving and operating in the will of God in your individual lives and in your marriage, whatever the case may be, what ends up happening is you're not going to get the full benefit of God. We have to be honest. And so that's why I encourage those who are single. What you need to do is try to figure out, have that relationship with God, have that alone time with God, that prayer, that meditation, that getting into your word or whatever, to see who it is that God has called you to be. So that way, when God brings, who he has created for you to have, then you're already good. One thing that I love to see, is I love to see husbands and wives support each other. I love to see that. Oh, let the wife, I have a lot of friends who are crafty. That is so not my gift, but they're very crafty. And the things that God allowed them, the vision, they can bring to life with their hands and whatever gift that he's given them. But sometimes, because, if you be honest, let's think about it. Set up and think about friends and stuff like that. You think about it with common day friends or people who's supposed to be your friends or coworkers or whatever the case may be. Maybe even your family, where they get upset because you finally figured out who you are and you're walking in the calling of God. You're walking in what God is creating you to do. More so, you are allowing God to order your steps. You see what I'm saying? And so they'll set up and they'll get mad about it. And sometimes you feel some kind of way, because I just speak about myself and I try to lessen who God has created me to be or what it is that he's created for me to do. But what we have to understand is when we do that, even with our spouse and whom we're married with, when we siphon who God has created us to be, what tends to happen is we end up getting a whooping from God, or we end up not getting the blessings that God desires for us to have. We do not end up getting those blessings. Y'all gotta forgive me, this hair is irritating me. But we do not get the blessings that God desires for us to have. So what we tend to do, especially in a marriage relationship, because of our own insecurities, we put our spouses in a box. We do not support our spouse. We don't pray. Say if the spouse say, I'm going to use this example. So say the husband come and he say, God has called me to preach, or whatever the case may be. Or we can switch it vice versa. Say that you see the calling on your spouse's life and you know that God has called him to minister and preach, but he is so hostile about it. Every time you bring it up, he's upset, and he knows because God has brought so many people before him. I'm just kind of using that as an example because I've seen that a lot in church or whatever the case may be. And he knows, like my husband, When that joker bring the word, preach the word, minister the word, I am in awe because he has such an awesome calling on his life. And think about, if you would go back and think about your life, because this is the conversation me and my husband had last night. I was like, wow, when I left my home and joined the military, when I left where, I grew up and joined the military, I started out as a combat medic. But now as I look at the path in which God has me on, I never thought that I would be in the counseling field. I'm just going to be straight up, because I wanted to be a nurse. That was my heart's desire, was to be a nurse. I did patient care, only to figure out that ain't really what I want to do. Ask yourself, are you doing what God has called you to do? Do you know what God has called you to do? Because guess what? You can't get mad at your spouse if they're operating and moving in the will of God and you're trying to hold them back, because you don't know what God has called you to do. So the thing that God gave me is stop putting your spouse in a box. Stop putting them in a box. Stop stifling them. Because in marriage, we're supposed to be our spouse's biggest supporter. So why is it that we're not supporting our spouse the way that we're supposed to? Because see, this is the thing that you have to understand. When you're not supporting your spouse, you are blocking your blessings. I'm just going to be straight up. Because think about, so if my husband said, I believe God has called me to be a doctor, and he goes to school and he goes, to finish his master's, and he finished the doctoral program and all this other kind of stuff, and, and get his MD, then guess what? I need to dig in the trenches and grind with him. Baby, what do you need? Do you need me to keep these kids quiet? Oh, do you have a study group? Oh, do you want me? Because in the long run, it's going to bless the both of us. But when we as husbands and wives only think about ourselves, then guess what? We're stifling our own marriage. Have you ever sit and been like, in your marriage, like, okay, God, why did you just seem so stifled? Why do we seem like we're bored, and whatever the case may be? And I'm going to tell you right this, if you're the type of person that you place your spouse in a box, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, God has given your spouse something to do, but they don't want to bring it to you because they feel like you're going to shoot them down. And we shouldn't. What you should do is say, okay, well, God is giving you this. Even if you don't see it, let's go ahead and pray together on this. Let's pray about this thing. Let's both go before God. But you see, husbands and wives 9 times out of 10 ain't going to do that. Quick to shoot your spouse down because you are too insecure and you don't know who God has created you to be. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not trying to be mean. But what you're doing is you are blocking your blessings. You're blocking yourself. That is not what you want. Have you ever looked at couples and you like, dang, it seemed like they always winning. Every time you turn around, they're doing something, or they're being blessed, or they're always smiling. They're always winning. Because 9 times out of 10, good morning, Jasana, they have gotten to the point where they're like, God, we gonna stop trying to control our marriage and everything, and we're gonna allow you to be in the proper place, which is the head of our marriage. That's why a lot of marriages crumble, even if you've been together for many years, because you're not allowing God to be in his proper place. You're only calling on God when things get bad. Now back to putting your spouse in a box. I have seen married couples in the last couple of years, like even since we started Marriage Mondays with the King, started doing the broadcast, I have seen couples that when I tell you they are flourishing, you hear me? I'm like, oh my God, whether it be the wife is going to school, whether it be they opened up a business. One of our good friends, Cajun Skillet, shout out to them. They are from the heart of New Orleans, NOLA. Okay, baby, they done got their little truck where they can go and they food truck. Good morning, Antron. I've seen people open up businesses and their spouses are supporting them, because guess what? This is what I've learned. And I told my husband this last night. You go through things, and just because, so say for instance, I say Mary Kay. I use that for an example because people know, I do Mary Kay, wear Mary Kay. I love Mary Kay. That's just me. I love the product. So I might not be driving the pink Cadillac, but that's okay, because God has allowed me to learn from an awesome mentor who happened to be the #1 top person in all of Mary Kay. Where I messed up is I was trying to be just like her. But God was like, no, 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 no. I didn't want you to be just like her. I wanted you to learn from her. And so I learned from her, and everything that I've learned has helped me and my husband in our business, but it has also helped us with Marriage Mondays with the Kings, because I couldn't be her. You see what I'm saying? So what ends up happening is my husband supported me. When I went to the little Mary Kay conventions and all this other kind of stuff, he supported me. He was right there with me. He was on the plane with me. He was sitting up saying, you know what I'm saying? Hey, baby, okay, what we doing? He was helping me deliver product and all that. That was a phase in my life. And see, what married individuals tend to do when you're placing your spouse in a box is when it looks like it's failing, you say, see? As my husband said, see, I done followed you all around. I done did this, you know, and I never wanted the pink Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? I was just in the business because I wanted to learn the business aspect and get those good old tax write-offs. And so in saying that, he could have put me down and said, see, you failed. You went through all this. You got this inventory. You didn't get no pink Cadillac. No, because when we go through things in life, it's to teach us for the next level in which we are going to be. So there are no failures. You can't think of it like that. And so I need the husbands and wives, don't be putting your mouth on your spouse and putting them down. What you need to do is be their biggest cheerleader. And those who are not their spouse's biggest cheerleaders are the ones who are putting their spouses in a box. And then I will say this one thing before I get ready to go, because I've seen this as well. Sometimes married individuals, if we be honest, are intimidated of the gift in which God has given their spouse. Because, say for instance, I have a strong gift of discernment. My husband have a gift of discernment. Mom may be a little bit stronger. My husband have other gifts in which God has blessed him with. But I have seen husbands and wives to where they get jealous of the gift that God has given them. So I'll say Antron on her. He's a chef. You know what I'm saying? To shout him out. His wife, they have not only is he a chef, but his wife owns a daycare here in the area. You see what I'm saying? So they're doing it and they're supporting each other. And that's how it's supposed to be. Because when you get in your old age in your marriage and you look back, you can say, wow, we accomplished this. We had this. Good morning, Alex. We had a business. We had blah, blah, blah. For those of you who are in a stagnant place right now in your marriage, what is it that you've accomplished? Are you walking in the gift of God? If not, are you getting in God's presence saying, okay, God, I'm tired of doing everything on my own. God, I'm tired of hitting brick walls. God, order my steps. What is it that you want me to do? Are you going to your spouse saying, baby, pray for me and pray with me that God will reveal to me whatever it is that he wants me to do? Because it makes no sense for you to sit up here and get jealous of another married couple, or even individuals, those who are single, because they are walking in the calling of God, because they've put those blinders to distractions on. You see what I'm saying? And saying, God, I'm just following you. Because you get to the point when you grow up that you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of going through things because you're trying to do it yourself. So I want every married individual to ask yourself, are you putting your spouse in the box, or are you being their biggest cheerleader? Because what you don't want to do is hinder them from doing what God has called them to do. Because guess what? You got to answer to that when you go into heaven and those good old pearly gates. Throw shade. I mean, don't throw shade on anybody. But man, definitely don't do it in your house. Definitely don't talk down your spouse. Don't belittle your spouse. Don't tell them that they're not good enough. Because most of the times, 9 times out of 10, your spouse already heard that when they was growing up. So if you're going to be in a marriage, husbands, I'm going to need you to put your big boy drawers on. Wives, I'm going to need you to put your big girl drawers on. And I'm going to need you to be the biggest supporter that your spouse needs, okay? The biggest cheerleader. Because it's already hard enough when you got the world that's coming against you. You don't need your spouse to be coming against you too, especially when you're walking in the calling of God. Because guess what? When you're walking in the calling of God, others is not going to see the vision in which God has for you. It's not for them to see, okay? But when you as husbands and wives line up on one accord and you line up with that vision that God has given your spouse for that season, or if it's for a lifetime, then I'm telling you that thing is going to flourish like none other. So please don't put any negativity. Please don't put your mouth in a negative way on your spouse, because you need to be in their corner. I can't stand when I hear husbands and wives do that. That irritates me. Yeah, he talking about he want to make the next rank in the military, but he ain't going to do nothing. You trifling. If you say that out your mouth, and y'all know me to be real and true, Shannon's going to tell you the truth. And if you don't want to hear the truth, just don't be on this channel. I mean, be on this channel, be on this video. It's not going to hurt me. What I need for us to do is be great in our marriage, and we cannot be great in our marriage, and we cannot be great in our singleness if, first of all, we don't line up with what God has for us to do. Second of all, if we're not putting the best effort, pushing our spouses to say, baby, you can do it. When they got their head down, when they feel like the opposition is against them, that's when you grab their hands and you pray and you say, baby, we got this. Because one thing that my husband can tell you from the first time that I met him is I've never dogged him down. I've never said that he was sorry and all this other kind of stuff. I grew up hearing that. So why would I want to project that onto somebody that I love? You see what I'm saying? And I've never told him he couldn't make it. If anything, I got on my husband's nerves for being his biggest cheerleader when he was down. Nope. Okay, baby, you can sit in it for a minute, but come on, brother, let's go. Get up. Come on. No, we gonna study. We gonna make this next rank. Okay? Those are the words that need to be spoken. So I highly encourage you on today, do not put your spouse in a box. If you know somebody who does this and they talk their spouse down, please share this on your page, because I know you know a couple of people, whether it be family, friend, or foe, that do this. So y'all have a blessed day. Don't let anybody steal your joy. I'm going to be back on tomorrow because God has given me some other things to share, and I'm going to be obedient because I don't want a spiritual Holy Ghost filled butt whooping, okay? But y'all be a blessing to somebody today, not a curse. Keep your attitude positive, not nasty, and your girl Shannon be back with y'all on tomorrow. Have a blessed day. Blessings to you.